Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. This is definitely going to be the last show. I had a pretty morbid video that I was going to do on the MEK. Look, I know some people are taking this tack that Trump is not trying to take down Iran. He is trying to take down Iran. You wouldn't put Bolton, you wouldn't put, what's the other maniac? Giuliani. All of these people all around him are hawks on it, not to mention the economic policies that are taking place right now, trying to create a certain amount of chaos. But they're also backing this kind of terrorist cult that has no support in Iran, that they're trying to essentially blow up. Giuliani has been giving speeches at this thing. But I don't want to do a morbid one. I want to end today on a good note. So let's do PMQs. I enjoy PMQs. I get riled up for PMQs. Let's watch an exchange for PMQs. Now, Jeremy Corbyn is not there. Neither is Theresa May. They have two people that are in their steed. Now, I don't know this woman's name. I know of her, but I can't think of her name. But she is really good at this. The gentleman who's for Conservative Party, I have no idea who this random guy is. I know he's not a random guy. He's like a secretary or something. But, and if I'm not mistaken, I've seen him debate before. I've seen him debate before, but I think it was a long time ago. But nevertheless, it's still PMQs. Let's have some fun. Questions to the minister. Jeremy Corbyn. Damn it, where's... Yeah, I had a bunch of them that I was going to do. This is another one I kind of want to do with David Davis explaining why he left. Because look, it's one thing for me to talk about it. It is another thing for him to explain it himself. But nevertheless, the dream of Brexit is being strangulated. Or being strangled. I don't think strangulated is the right conjugation of that. All right, let's keep going.
It takes some of us back to the 1970s. We're very pleased to have you. Well done. Emily Thornberry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I join the Minister of State in paying tribute to Lord Carrington, who served his country with such distinction in both the forces and in government, and whose decision to resign the office of Foreign Secretary will be remembered as an act of great principle and honour. I share the joy at the rescue of the boys in Thailand and salute the bravery and sacrifice of the diving teams, including the 7 British divers. On the question of tonight's match, I'm afraid I'm not going to be watching it. It will be the only game that I've missed, but I will be representing the Labour Party at tonight's memorial event for the anniversary of the Srebrenica genocide, something very close to my heart, given my father's role in trying to prevent it. But let me wish Gareth Southgate and the English team the best of luck for this match and hopefully for the final on Sunday. I may know very little about football, but even I can see that England's progress so far at the World Cup shows what can be achieved when all the individual players work effectively as a team. When there's a clear game plan and when they're all working together. And of course, when everyone respects and listens to the manager. So can I simply ask the Minister of State what lessons he thinks the England team could teach this shambles of a government?
Mr. Speaker, I think that the England team does teach some good lessons, which is about the importance of having a clear plan, which the team captain has the full support of the squad in delivering. And we will, of course, be publishing tomorrow full details of the United Kingdom plan for Brexit, which we will be putting to the British public and to our 27 European partners. When the Right Honourable Lady gets up again, perhaps she will tell us what the Labour Party's alternative plan is, for at the moment that is one of the best-kept secrets in politics. Emily.
I love this. I love this. I love it when she's on the dispatch box because she has this biting sense of humor that works. She's amazing at the dispatch box thing. It works. And both of them, it's funny. She's like, there's a certain hypocrisy in what she's saying, even though it's absolutely hilarious. The spotlight that's on Labour versus the spotlight that's on Tories, of course, is going to be different because the Tory government is the government that's supposed to be dealing with Brexit. They're the one that called the referendum. They're the one that's supposed to be dealing with it. Well, their government is in shambles. You have people falling apart. They're disintegrating. Theresa May is taking like one step. It's like those movies where, like Sandman, where he's like taking one step and his body is just disintegrating and falling apart with each successive step until he's essentially just no more. But you have Labour MPs that are reaching over to the Tories. That doesn't look like the hallmark of unity to me. That doesn't look like the hallmark of unity to me at all. But from the standpoint of rhetorical effect, gold star. I love it. As for what's Jeremy Corbyn's plan, I have no idea what Jeremy Corbyn's plan is. I've heard what Jeremy Corbyn has said. It is going to be rejected out of hand by the EU. And the problem here is that ultimately the public voted for Brexit. And nobody knew what that meant. And it's almost as if they said, look, you just come back and you bring us a baby in X number of years and tell us what it is and we'll take it home. And Theresa May brings the baby back and they're like, oh my God, the baby's like, Aah! So it's a screaming baby. And they're like, oh my God, what the fuck is that? That's your Brexit. You're not happy with it? You don't love it? Grab it. Show us that you love it. And they're like, no, take that thing away from me. I don't know what that thing is. I never asked for that thing. I never asked for it. Look, if Jeremy Corbyn gets caught under that weight too, I don't know what his plan is. I know what Jeremy Corbyn said his plan is, but I don't know what his plan is. Do you really want to be in a situation where you're worse off in perpetuity? Meaning you're stuck taking the EU's laws while at the same token, and might not even be able to do trade deals. But ultimately you're stuck taking their laws without any capacity to influence those laws. I mean, come on. So I don't know the solution to this. I don't know the solution to this. And I gotta be honest, what he just said there wasn't necessarily all that off the wall. What is Labour going to do? Well, look, when we're in power, we'll tell you, buddy. But right now, it's you. This is Prime Minister questions. This is not an Ask Labour a question. Let's keep going. But at the very least, it's not Ask Labour yet. You'll get your opportunity, buddy, to ask Jeremy Corbyn at some point when your government falls apart.
Well, I thank the Minister of State for that answer, but who does he think he's kidding? Even Donald Trump can see they're in turmoil, and he hasn't even got to Britain yet. But can I ask the Minister of State once again, as I did at PMQs back in December 2016, when he compared Labour's shadow cabinet to Mutiny on the Bounty, remade by the Carry On team? Well, by those standards, what would he describe his lot now as? Perhaps Reservoir Dogs, remade by the Chuckle Brothers. Take him back to our first PMQs in 2016, when I asked him how it was possible to retain frictionless trade with Europe without remaining in a customs union. I got no answer then. Let me try again today. Can he explain how the frictionless trade is going to be achieved under this government's Chequers plan?
Well, the Honourable Lady will see the detail in the White Paper, but if she'd been listening to my Right Honourable friend, the Prime Minister, on Monday, she would have heard the Prime Minister explain very clearly that we believe a combination of the Common Rule Book on goods and on agri-food, coupled with the facilitated customs arrangement that we are proposing, will provide just that. And what is more, that takes full account of the wish of United Kingdom business to ensure that that frictionless trade will continue. Now, if the Honourable Lady, Right Honourable Lady, disagrees, will she stand up and say what her alternative proposal is?
I do thank him for that answer on the Chequers free trade proposal, but I was hoping today that he would go beyond the theory and explain in practice how it works. So let me check one specific but important point for the Chequers proposal to work in practice based on what the Prime Minister said on Monday. Not just the UK, but every EU member state will have to apply the correct tariff to imports depending if they are destined for the UK or the EU. And then we'll have to track each consignment until it reaches its destination to stop any customs fraud. Now, if that is correct, can I ask the Minister of State what new resources and technology will be required to put that system in place across the EU? How much is it going to cost, who's going to pay, and how long is it going to take?
No, I'm afraid the right honourable lady is...
That's sexy. I don't know why I'm... That's hot. I love that. I love that. I love that. She's like... Because what she's saying is right. I mean, ultimately, she's making this point that, look, if you're going to make this work, there's a host of infrastructure just based on the logic of what you're saying. The stuff that he's talking about, this stuff doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's this fanciful thinking that they've come up with, this magic that they're going to somehow have this frictionless border with goods and tariffs, or goods and services. Let's let him answer. I want him to answer. I'm curious on his answer for this.
Incorrect in her assumptions. I mean, for a start, the customs model that we are proposing would not, under the arrangements that we suggest, affect either imports or exports involving this country and the European Union. They would not involve exports from this country to the rest of the world. We are talking about imports to this country from non-EU member states. And our calculation is that when, in particular, you look at the importance of those sectors where either zero tariffs or very low tariffs already exist under World Trade Organization arrangements, or where finished goods are involved, and therefore it's easy to identify the final destination, that we will find 96% of UK goods trade is going to pay either the correct or no tariff at all at the border.
Emily Thornberry.
Mr. Speaker, so the Minister of State, I believe, has said something quite interesting, and I do hope that his backbenchers are listening very carefully. So he says that the Chequers free trade proposal will require no new technology and will involve no tracking of goods. But how can that be possible if there is no divergence on tariffs, no divergence on regulation? In other words, one trade on trade in goods, we will continue exactly as we are at present.
I'm afraid the right honourable lady might not have sat through all of the Prime Minister's statement in response to questions on Monday, but my right honourable friend Lane made it very clear that we are actively looking in these new circumstances, but frankly we would, as a sensible government, be looking anyway at the opportunities that new technology offers and will offer in the future to minimise friction on trade for businesses of all kinds.
Wait a minute, what are you talking about? She's right. She's right. What are you talking about? If you notice, he didn't impeach what she just said. She's like, so you're making... Look, I guess her main point is, in order for you to do that, to have that level of in where you don't necessarily have to have trade, or you can have frictionless trade with zero tariffs and all this other stuff, you're going to be in regulatory alignment. You're essentially going to have to match what's taking place with the EU. That's her point. Now he's saying, well, yes, we're going to try to maximize technology as it comes available. Yes, but that doesn't touch what she's saying at all. In order for you to do what you're saying, you're talking about regulatory alignment. You're melding the EU law or Brexit law or Britain law with EU's. Bino. Brexit in name only. Brexit in name only. She's damn good at this. I love it when she does this. She's really... I've seen her do PMQs maybe 2 or 3 times, and in all of those times, she's always had this sharp, biting wit at the dispatch box. She's really good. Let's keep going.
Emily Thornberry.
The Minister of State cannot answer these simple questions of detail because he cannot admit the truth. The truth is that the Chequers proposal is total delusion. The UK cannot set its own tariffs on goods, and keep frictionless trade with the EU, the technology to do so doesn't exist. So there will be no divergence on tariffs in the free trade area, no divergence on regulation. It is a customs union in all but name. But, Mr. Speaker, it does not cover our service industries because the government claims that this is the great area of potential to negotiate trade agreements with the rest of the world. But can I ask the Minister of State to explain why a country like China would agree to import more of our services if it cannot agree, in turn, to lower tariffs on their goods?
No, I think, first of all, I do think that the Right Honourable Lady has misunderstood still the customs arrangement we are proposing, and I would advise her to look at the white paper when it's published tomorrow. The reason why we are proposing to treat services differently is that it is in services where regulatory flexibility matters most for both current and future trading opportunities. And it's also the case that while the EU acquis on goods has been stable for about 30 years, the EU acquis on services has not been, and the risk of unwelcome EU measures coming into play through the acquis on services is much greater.
Emily Thornberry.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I have asked the Minister of State why China would accept such a one-way deal on services, and the answer is that they would not. It is simply another Chequers delusion, a Brexit deal dream with no grip on reality. And there is an easy answer to this mess, an alternative that will offer all the benefits of the Chequers free trade area, with no new technology, no cost, no delay, an alternative that both this House and Europe will accept, and an alternative covering both goods and services. So can I appeal to the Minister of State to accept that alternative, do what I urged him to do 2 years ago, and instead of trying to negotiate some half-baked backdoor version of the customs union, get on with negotiating the real thing?
Mr. Speaker, again the Right Honourable Lady keeps silent about what the Labour Party is actually proposing. And the truth is...
Order. I want to hear the Chancellor of the Duchy's reply. I say in the most genial possible spirit to the Honourable Lady, the member for Lincoln, that she is allowing her blood pressure to rise unduly. And I say in a humanitarian spirit, calm yourself and let us hear the ministerial reply. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the party opposite says that they would strike new trade deals, but their plan to stay in the customs union prevents that because it would bind us to the common commercial policy for all time. They used to say, that they'd control our borders, but they backed an amendment to the withdrawal bill to let freedom of movement continue. And the Labour Party used to say that they respected the referendum result. But now they are toying once again with the idea of a second referendum. The Labour leader won't rule it out, the Deputy Leader won't rule it out, the Shadow Brexit Secretary won't rule it out, and nothing could be better calculated to undermine our negotiating position and lessen our chances of a good deal than holding out that prospect of a second vote. And whichever side, Mr. Speaker, any of us campaigned on in that referendum, the country made a decision, and we should now get on with the task in hand. That's what the government is doing.
Emily Thornberry.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister of State seems to argue that by leaving the EU, the British people voted against a customs union. But that seems to be completely the opposite to what he used to say. I mean, I had taken back to 2011, and when he said that the yes-no referendum would not give us the information that he said, and I quote, that sharp division between the status quo and quitting the EU does not reflect the breadth of views held in this country. For example, he said, if people voted to leave the EU, would that mean having no special relationship with the EU, or would it mean a relationship like Norway's? Now, he said it. My question is, we understand what he's saying, but when did he stop agreeing with himself? I fear when we look back on this week, as one where the government could have taken a decisive step towards a sensible, workable deal to protect jobs and trade, but we have ended up with them proposing a dog's Brexit, which will satisfy no one, which will not fly in Europe, which will waste the next few weeks and will take us infinitely closer.
The Chancellor of the Duchy. Thank you. No, I think we've heard it. I think we've heard... Order! Order! To be fair, Order! To be fair, I think we've heard it, and we've heard it fully, and that's absolutely right. The Chancellor of the...
What? She wasn't finished. She was digging in on him. That was awesome. She's like a dog's Brexit. A dog's Brexit. Jesus Christ, I love that. A dog's Brexit. When did you stop agreeing with yourself? When did you stop agreeing with yourself? Wow. Did you see the look on his face when she brought that up and she's reading that out? Here are your words that you were saying a few years ago. When did you stop agreeing with this? When did you stop agreeing with this? Yeah, Brooke Rowe, I don't like you stopping her like that. It's kind of messed up. I wanted to hear her finish.
Mr. Speaker, I mean, the Right Honourable Lady gave away her misunderstandings. Her question seemed to imply she thinks Norway is actually in a customs union with the European Union. It's not. What we have on the table from the government is a comprehensive set of proposals that we believe will deliver for British business in terms of frictionless trade and will deliver on what people voted for in the referendum to restore to this House control of our laws, control of our borders and control of our money, and to achieve a new security partnership with our European neighbours that it is in the interests of every European country to achieve. That is something which the Right Honourable Lady should get behind us and support and work in the common interest instead of carping from the sidelines.
Andrew Rosindale!
Wow. Yeah, this politics in Britain have gotten amazing. They've really gotten amazing. I mean, just going back at each other. I love it. I love it. Whenever you watch Parliament, you just can't look away. No, you can't look away. It's amazing to watch. A dog's breakfast, which is an idiom. I love it. A dog's Brexit. No, she said a dog. I thought she said a dog's Brexit. A dog's Brexit. I thought she said a dog's Brexit. The Tories guy is such a bore. Yeah, I got a new microphone, Johnny Nice. It is a hilarious about it, regardless of context. Yeah, it does. Laura, I find it constant whining about Trump annoying, but even if I didn't know who Trump was, I would find the balloon hilarious. That balloon is hilarious. The balloon is hilarious. The screaming Trump baby is like, the balloon is awesome. I love that balloon. Oh, let's see. Yeah, she's awesome. She's really cool. I love the big orange baby Trump balloon that London is flying with Trump is in New York. Then somebody said that they were going to get the Marines to shoot down the Trump balloon. It was like, you can't shoot down the president. Oh, man. Breakfast means breakfast. Brexit means Brexit. It's a currently amazing due to Corbyn and momentum. Winslow. Yeah, man. Oh, I see what you mean, Corbyn and momentum. Yeah, because there's potential now. I mean, you have real potential for change of politics. I mean, it's fucking amazing. So, all right, I'm not going to keep this one long because I'm fading on this one. So, thank you guys for showing up. I enjoy Parliament PMQs. So, even if I'm the only one who's watching it, fuck it. Let's watch it together. That doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. So, all right, guys. You all have a good one and be safe. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.